Imagine a family so powerful. They ruled half of Europe for 600 years. And imagine that same family, so obsessed with keeping their blood pure, that they kept marrying each other. Cousins marrying cousins, uncles marrying nieces, generation after generation, until their own bodies started falling apart. This is not fiction. This is the Habsburg dynasty. And what happened to them is one of the darkest stories in royal history. Okay, so here is what you need to understand about the Habsburgs. These were not just any royal family. At their peak, they controlled Austria, Spain, Hungary, Bohemia, Italy, and half of the Americas. One family, running half the world. Their motto was genuinely brilliant. Let others wage war, but you happy Austria, marry. They did not conquer empires with armies. They built them with weddings. Married into every royal family in Europe. Grabbed more land with each marriage. And to keep all that land, all that power, all that wealth within the family, they started marrying each other. Cousins to cousins, uncles to nieces. And at first, it worked. The empire grew. The power grew. But underneath all that power, something was going very, very wrong. So here is the science, and it is genuinely disturbing. When closely related people have children, the child inherits the same defective genes from both parents. Normally, one good copy of a gene cancels out one bad copy. But when both parents carry the same bad gene, the child gets two bad copies, and the damage starts showing. The Habsburgs developed what became known as the Habsburg jaw, a grotesquely enlarged lower jaw that jutted so far forward, the mouth could not fully close. When the first Spanish Habsburg ruler Charles V arrived in Spain in 1516, a bold peasant shouted at him from the crowd, "Your Majesty, shut your mouth. The flies of this country are very insolent." That was the beginning, and it only got worse. Much worse, because with every generation of inbreeding, the jaw got bigger, the defects multiplied, and the bodies got weaker. Half of all Habsburg children died before reaching age 10. Half, while the survival rate for normal Spanish families at the same time was 80%. The empire that marriage built was being destroyed by marriage. And then came Charles II, the final Habsburg king of Spain. And his story is genuinely heartbreaking. By the time Charles II was born in 1661, his family had been inbreeding for so long that his inbreeding coefficient was 0.25. That is the same genetic similarity as a child born to a brother and sister. His own parents were uncle and niece, and his grandmother appears in his family tree 14 separate times. 14. The result? Charles II could not walk until he was 8 years old, could not speak until he was 4, and even then, barely. His tongue was so enlarged, he drooled constantly. His jaw jutted so far forward, he could not chew his food properly. He swallowed most of it whole. He suffered epilepsy. He suffered from hallucinations. He was impotent, could not produce children despite being married twice. And he was in constant physical pain his entire life. He was called El Hechizado, the bewitched, because people genuinely believed a curse had been placed on him. But it was not a curse. It was 6 generations of his own family, marrying each other. When Charles II died in 1700, aged just 38, the most powerful royal dynasty in European history died with him. You can build an empire. You can rule the world. But you cannot outrun your own DNA. So here's what the Habsburg story actually is. Not just a history lesson. A warning. A 600-year dynasty that built the most powerful empire in Europe through the genius of strategic marriage, and then destroyed itself through the madness of keeping that marriage within the family. The jaw that started as a minor quirk in Charles V became a disability so severe in Charles II that he could barely function as a human being. Half their children died before age 10. Their last king was in constant agony his entire life. And when he died, childless, the empire collapsed. The Habsburgs conquered half the world and were conquered by their own family tree. And that right there is exactly why this story needed to be told. Next video, a man who flew to the bottom of the world dictated a final statement before he died, and what he said has never been fully explained. Subscribe, and do not miss that one.